Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. 12 candidates have been lined up to face interviews to be the new chairperson of IEBC, replacing the late Wafula Chebukati. And 11 candidates have also been listed for commissioner positions. An interesting and a key political development that have a direct bearing on 2027 general election. And I want us to pay attention to this. Make sure that I can promise you that in this channel, we'll have an exclusive coverage following up on this process until we land to the new IEBC chair. So make sure you watch this podcast to the end, because from this podcast, from this first video, you'll be able now to follow the series until we get the new IEBC chair. Before I break down this, I want to humbly request you to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. If you check the photo that will be shared there, that is the place where subscribe, and I've also indicated the notification bell. I've realized some people don't know where the notification bell is. So when you click that notification bell, that is what will enable you not to miss any of our videos, because you will receive updates all the time. And remember, subscription is absolutely free. There is nothing going to be deducted from your account, and even your email is safe both on the back and the front end of the channel, because we can't see it. Now, without much ado, I would want us to get to that list, and just allow me to read, to read for you the names, and key is about the gender and the counties they're coming from. And I'm going to pay more attention on the chairperson side, because that to me is where there is the real fight, what really the country is going to look at. Now, Abdul Lakadir Lorot H. Ramadan is one of the candidates going to face the panel. From Baringo, is a male. Ann Atieno Amadi is from Homa Bay County, the former registrar of the judiciary, female. Charles Ayako Nyachai, the senior Nyachai, who was actually the first chairperson of CIC, is from Kisii County, a male. The third candidate is Edward Katama Ngeywa, person living with disability, a male from Trans Nzoia. Erastus Edung Ethekon, a male from Turkana. Francis Kaikai Kisinga, a male from Vihiga. The other person is Jacob Ngwele Muvengei, a male from Kitui. And Joy Brenda Medivo, a female from Nairobi. Then the other person is Lillian Wanjiku Managene, a female from Kirinyaga. And Robert Akumu Asembo, a male from Busia. And finally, Saul Simiu Wasilia, a male from Bungoma. So that is the list of the 11. The list of, let me not say, not 11. Yes, I think 11, 4, 4, 3. That is the list of the 11 Kenyans that have been shortlisted for interviews. And from the 11 names I've named, from the 11 names I've given you, one of them, after 25th, by the first week of May, one of them will be the new IBC chair, unless someone again heads to court and the process is stalled. Now, I'm putting keen interest on the new team. Unlike the late Wafula Chebukati, who came into office in 2016 January, or 2017 January, just 8 months to the general election, the new chair is coming to office nearly 2 years to the general election. And I think the new chair has all the time to prepare, if it is about policy paper and everything, to prepare. And in fact, When Wafula Chebukati came, he came 8 months to a general election, which according to me, made him not to make any changes for the general election. I think he used what already were there. The new team that is coming have all the latitude to make the new changes. Number two, I'm putting keen interest because the IEBC is supposed to conduct by-elections and boundaries review. So their jobs are cut clear, because if they don't do boundary review, which is supposed to be done every 10 years, then someone might head to court and challenge the constitutionality of holding elections in 2027. It is also interesting to understand the new team that is coming into office, if everything goes and they spearhead 2027 elections without any squabbles, they are supposed to leave office months to 2032 general election. The IEBC chair tenure is 7 years. So 7 years, if you join in 2025 May, then you will likely leave in 2032 May. That will just be 3 months to the general election. So the probability that the regime coming might only spearhead one election, one general election. That is the 2027 general election. I would love it that way, so that you do what you do and leave. And if you are not going to spearhead the next election, then you might just stay to scoop your money. Now, let's look at, let's try to break down on that list. That is why I was reading for you the candidates by names. I am seeing, and let's try to break it region by region. First, let me remind you, the first IEBC chair after 1992 was Samuel Kivitu, spearheaded 1992, I think 1997, 2002, and 2007. Then after that, we had Isaac Hassan, who spearheaded only 2013 general election from Northeastern. Then we took the next chair from Western, Wafula Chebukati from Trans Nzoia County, who again spearheaded the 2017 general election, the rerun, and the 2022 general election. Now, where are we going to get the next chair? Will we think of now taking it to another region? Let's look at this list. If you look at this list, from the traditional Western 8 provinces, the larger Western side has more. Many are shortlisted from that side of the larger Western region. And look at Western. Western have a candidate from Busia, that is Robert Akumwa Sembo. Bungoma, that is Sol Simiyu. Even this Joy Brenda Midivo is coming from the larger Midivo family, and that is from also Eluya. And there is Vihiga Francis Kaikai Kisinga. And you also have Trans Nzoia, Edward Katama Ndeiwa. Now, with that in line, that is just Western. Western have a shortlisted candidate is from Trans Nzoia, from Busia, from Bungoma, and Vihiga. And I think even Joy Midivo comes from Luya. I can't just know which county, but someone will tell us. It's coming from the larger. Joy Midivo, that lady who is in KPLC, this is a relative. Then, when you go to Nyanza, there are 2 candidates, Anne Amadi and Charles Ayako Nyachai. That is the Charles Nyachai from the Nyachai family. When you go to Rift Valley, there is only Baringo, that is Abdul Kadir Lorot, Baringo, and Turkana, Erastus Edung Ethekon. Then Kitui, there is Jacob Ngwele Muvungei. And then from western side, from central Kenya, you also have one candidate from Kirinyaga, Lilian Wanjiku Managene. Now, from this, no candidate from the northeastern side and no candidate from the coast. For the IEBC chairperson, on the commissioners, I will not want to delve much on it because I've realized when I look at what the commissioner did last time, I think the bit of much interest on the chairperson of the IEBC. And I'll one day analyze something on this situation. I also don't believe we should have a commission chairperson with some veto power. So, coast, no candidate. So, the likelihood of coast getting a commissioner is there. And northeastern, no candidate. I don't know which other area we can look at. Yes, and even larger Rift Valley is just Baringo and Turkana. If you look at that, minority community there, someone from the minority is only Turkana. So let's look at it this way. From that observation, is it possible that we have 5 Luyas in that list? Let me tell you, 5 Luyas lined up to be the next IEBC chair. There are 2 possibilities. On picking, let's do it elimination. On picking, I want to have a two-legged stool. I don't know if it's a stool. It's either from Western or from the other parts of the country. So let's go Western. 5 Luyas have been lined up for it. And I'm taking that because, and that doesn't mean that competency has not been put. But we need to put a disclaimer that while the country is going to look at competency, but there are several other factors. And one of them is that tribal alignment. Now, let's look at Luhya land. And from there, I want us to pick the Luhya and the Luo, and the Luo constituencies, Anamadi and the Kisi candidate. If we go to the Luhya land and the gender card is played, then you will agree with me that Joy Brenda Masinde Mdivo, though listed from Nairobi but is from Luhya, is one of the candidates. And she's the only female Luhya there. So if a gender card with a Luhya, then Joy Brenda Masinde Mdivo ticks the box. Luhya, female. I'm saying the gender card because President Ruto is a man of attracting, headlines. Remember, I have the first woman Attorney General. We have the first woman IEBC chair. We are first. Those bombshells are also there. That's number 1. Number 2, let's look at the other lady, Anne Atieno Amadi. Let me tell you, you can take this to bank. Anne Amadi, box coming from Homa Bay, that box is not ticked. The gender card she might not be ticked there because of one thing. The current political dispensation between William Ruto and Raila Odinga, the probability of Raila Odinga demanding the deputy president slot is there. The deputy president slot is there. I know the president will not want to envision a situation where, and if Raila is giving a deputy president slot, one of the potential candidates is actually Gladys Wanga. I know even President Ruto will not want a situation where Gladys Wanga and the IEBC chair comes from one county, who is actually a deputy president, a running mate, and the IEBC chair comes from the same county. That is not going to work best for his optics. And with the narrative that you've given the Luo, the IEBC chair, well, it works to show the confidence that probably the Ruto will have on his team. But in terms of competence of Anna Madi, I think she ticks that box. Having served at the judiciary and just retired at the judiciary the other time, that is also something there. I'm a bit interested. Why is the members of people that had been in the judiciary are getting their space, themselves in the electoral space? Because even Maraga is coming out clearly as a candidate for presidency, is throwing his weight behind the 2027 presidency. So by the mere fact, Luo, Homa Bay, the running mate discussion that will go on, I think Anna Madi does not tick that box. There is a man called Charles Nyachai. Charles Nyachai is a dynasty. The Nyachai family is a household name in Kisii. But with Matiang'i candidature, and one thing with Nyachai, the competence of Nyachai is that Nyachai is a system person. Having overseen the transition of the new constitution, there was Commission of Constitutional Implementation, CIC, Constitutional Implementation, I can't remember it, but the body that oversaw the transition to the new constitution, it was there between 2013, I think between 2010 all the way to 2014, if I'm not wrong. So he's a man that has been in the political space for some time. He's a man that cannot be cowed by the presidency. Aizogo Paruto. That's one thing I know. Aizogo Paruto is the man who has been there. Nyachai is, however, a very well-known name. Very well-known name. But also with Matiang'i candidature, some factor that I'm coming to mention up on Mbele, his box might not be ticked. His box might not be ticked. So that leaves me with, if you look at the other side, Francis Kaikai Kisinga from Vihiga, of course also from Luyaland, and Saul Simiu Wasilwa. That is also from the other side of Bungoma. Now, if in my own assessment, if Ruto goes to Western and picks a gender card, then Joy Brenda Midivo might be given it. However, if the gender card is not put, one of the strongest figures to take over the space is Charles Sayako Nyachai. If you ask me, I'll vote for Charles Sayako Nyachai. I'll vote for such a candidate. I'll vote for a man that has been in this space for some time, a man who has also been part of the struggle. I believe the Kisii man ticks box. On the other side, I told you there is the Luya or the other part of the country. If the other side of the country is put, then let me anchor two candidates. Because remember, as you pick, you must also remember that William Ruto is knowing his real opponents. The opponents are two. It's either the other side of Rigathi and Kalonzo Musyoka. Jacob Ngwele Muvungei, and if you go outside Western, you can't get a female candidate. There's only one female candidate. And I want to mention that. But let's finish with Jacob Ngwele Muvungei from Kitui. Kitui is where Kalonzo comes from. That is Kalonzo Musyoka's county. I want to imagine we've picked the IEBC chair from Kalonzo Musyoka's place. Will Kalonzo Musyoka have the range of saying Ruto has picked his man? Will it be? Will Kalonzo come and oppose that pick? Because I'm telling you, that's one of the line of talk for this country. The country is going to talk about the new IEBC chair. So William Ruto can still throw that card, but that doesn't mean, even if Jacob Ngwele Muvungei comes from Kitui, Kalonzo Musyoka's county, it might not be a guarantee. And of course, he's not going to be a Ruto man. The other issue is Lilian Wanjiku Mangene, Kirinyaga, Kikuyu. Very interesting to see how that will go. But I want to believe that applies if she picks a gender card outside Mount Kenya. You still, outside Luya, but you still want a lady, a woman, you might pick Lilian Wanjiku Managene. But I also don't tick that box. That box is not really ticked because there is some unwritten law that you need to go for when you go for the IBC chair, you must not go for the big tribes, not Luo, not Lui, not Luo, not Kikuyu. But of course, even if there's normally a temptation to go for the minority. So it's also keen on how that would play out. So who is my IBC chair? I'm vouching for Nyachai. And if you go out, it might go to Kitui for Jacob Ngwele Ovungei. And if you allow me, trim the list from elimination from 9 to 11. I'm seeing Nyachai if it goes to Western, Joy, Brenda, Midivo, or Jacob Ngwele. Unlike there is a real factor of the IBC chair. Someone would want, what are the stakes? The stakes are high. Let me tell you, the stakes are high. And what kind of the ideal candidate that Ruto is looking for? You need to remember, when you hear people like Sudi telling you will add the votes, if they're not enough, then that tells you that adding the votes cannot happen without the blessings of a lean team. So President Ruto is going to look for a lean chair. He's going to look for people they can, because 2027 general election is not easy. The probability of losing is there. Yes. But the probability of William Ruto rigging his way is also high. So as you pick, all these factors are put into consideration. Number one, these are some of the stakes in this chair and the deal factors on table now. Continuity or transformative. I did say we are going to pick our chair by May. That chair will have 2 years to prepare for the next general election. Chebukati added to 2017 just 8 months after being sworn into office. So I believe the IBC needs a transformative team. A team that will not yield to the political pressure. And that's why I'm vouching for Nyachai. Nyachai is not someone who itatapigiwa anashtuliwa. He's someone who's been in the political circles and would want a transformative person. Even though I'm afraid Ruto team are vouching for another version of the late Chebukati. I don't want to belabor much that point because I don't want to delve into profiling the late Wafula Chebukati. The other second issue is the multi-billion tenders in the polls body. Let me say this. You remember the way 2017, Raila Odinga and the team spoke about the tenders at the polls body. Remember around 2022, the tender, where there was even alleged that late Chebukati met with the Wetangula and just plotting how these deals are going through. And let me tell you, this is another place where politicians have interest. And this is where things normally start going wrong. Procurement of ballot papers, procurement of Kim's kit, I don't know procurement of what. It is at the procurement level that sometimes things start going wrong. Because from the procurement, that is where people would actually procure excess ballot papers. That is why people would procure some very dubious Kim's kits. I remember just days to a general election in 2022, there are some Venezuelan nationals that were arrested at the airport and they were carrying Kim's kits. And the country was really put to task to explain. The polls body was put to task to explain what about this. So the rigging of election starts at the procurement. And I can tell you, it is a big stake. The reason why the presidency would have, the incumbent president will have a stake on this is at procurement. And there are big tenders that are going to be rolled here. I saw the other day they were saying they demand 61. Did they need 61 billion to plan for the next general election? Let me ask you, can the government of Kenya government of Kenya pump 61 billion in IBC and someone fails to have an interest? 2, the ethnic political card to downplay favorism. I can tell you, the next person that is going to be picked is going to face more trouble. Because William Ruto's opponents will, whichever way, they must pick a narrative that president has already picked a lean team or has already favored his team. Even if at selection panel there was a push and pull between who was to be in that panel, and you see the way the state played a card there, the new person going to be picked is, of course, going to face allegations. The president must face allegations of favoring someone because of one reason or the other. So as we pick, that is also one of the factors in table. Number 3, the other factor is the gender card. William Ruto will want to go on top of the card and say, for the first time, the country is having a female, a woman IEBC chairperson, and probably for the first time a region has produced an IEBC chair. And in power sharing, someone will say, you know, you have an IEBC chair, you have I don't know, Supreme Court judge, I don't know, have this. That's kind of politics is at William Ruto's table, and we are going to play more of that. And lastly, and take this to bank, William Ruto is looking for an IEBC chair that will have to listen to him. He can gamble with anything. He can gamble with the running mate. He will gamble with impeaching Rigathi. But on this one, it's very possible. But I'm afraid, if we are not careful, the new IEBC chair going to be picked might even face an impeachment even before he spearheads. There is no guarantee that if you pick an IEBC chair now, that person might not even be removed before the general election. Everything can happen. So it's interesting. Thank you.